okay, we've got to put an end to this because I see this pop up time and time again and it's getting ridiculous. Obese people need to buy an extra seat on flights. There, I said it. I know it's not the most politically correct thing that I've ever said, but hey, here at Go Work, Go Broke, we really tackle the big issues. So this has come up again. It came up last year. There was a massive outcry. There was petitions going around. There were fat influencers having their say. And now it's come up again because we saw this photo of this guy traveling from Helsinki to Copenhagen. He is on one of what looks like to be one of those like budget airlines. He is struggling to fit in that seat. He is spilling over the top of it. The poor person next to him, I don't even want to know what that person is thinking. And that one picture, this one image needs to go viral so airlines rethink their policy on obesity and on size. I'm not holding my breath because these airlines, as we all know, just look at Qantas, our very own Spirit of Australia, they're too scared to tackle these big issues. And it's not even a big like moral issue. It's literally an issue of physics, of weight, of comfort, of finances, and of fairness. Because I'm sorry, but if I'm sitting next to that person and their stomach is hanging over my seat, I'm going to say something because that's not fair. I have paid the equal amount of as they've paid and my stomach is not hanging over their seat. Now, everyone has to tip very, very carefully around this issue because everyone gets so up in arms about it. Let's not beat around the bush. It's not fair. It's not fair for everyone else on board. I traveled a couple of weeks ago on like I think it was Jetstar, low-cost airline, where weight is everything to these guys. I had a 14 kilogram carry-on weight limit and I didn't check any baggage, so that was my entire baggage. I had a little suitcase and I had a handheld handbag. At the gate, they had scales and I had to weigh the suitcase and I had to weigh my bag separately. And they just told me at the gate that the suitcase couldn't be over 10 kilograms. The suitcase weighed in at something like 10.9 kilograms. I had to take out 900 grams out of that suitcase and put it into my handbag. Now, I honestly do not see the point of this. I am going on with my 14 kilograms. I'm under collectively. So why does it matter where that weight is distributed? If someone can explain this to me, I would be happy to know. But the handbag and the suitcase are next to each other in the overhead locker. Why does it matter where those 900 grams are? Anyway, my point is, this guy is carrying a lot more than 900 grams. He's carrying probably an extra 50 kilos, 100 kilos, more than the average person. For him to be spilling out like that over into the aisle, over into his neighbor's seat, that is a lot of kgs that he's carrying. Now, if they are getting so up in arms about my 900 grams in my luggage, what about this guy? If it's so important that the weight of the plane is evenly distributed, that everyone takes only what is allotted to them, then how can this guy come on with an extra 50 kilograms or 100 kilograms? Wouldn't that be unsafe for the entire plane? Wouldn't it throw off the distribution of the weight on the plane? Now, they always go on and on about this weight distribution. I'm not going to pretend to know how it works. I'm not in aviation. I'm not a pilot. I'm not a physicist. But the way that they go on about it and the way that they charge customers for it at the gate, I mean, it shows that it's pretty damn important. Yet, when someone goes on and they're morbidly obese, all bets are off, we can't say anything. So let's keep it consistent. What I'm saying is that morbidly obese people should have to pay for 2 seats. Now, I know on every single plane, especially those budget airlines, the middle bar doesn't go up. But they still need the extra seat because they're literally spilling over onto their neighbor. The neighbor who has paid fair and square for their seat. They've paid for 1 seat. When you get on a plane, you pay for 1 seat. That doesn't matter if you're filling half the seat or if you're filling the whole seat, but you get 1 seat. And then if you're a bit bigger, you can have the seatbelt extender and that's all good. But when it comes to you needing an extra seat because you literally don't fit in that seat, you need to be paying for an extra one. Now, I remember talking about this last year where this fat influencer. Her name's Jaylene Cheney. She's a very proud fat influencer, so I'm allowed to say that. She launched a petition because she was on a flight and she was very overweight, and people kind of came out and said that she should be paying for 2 seats. Now, she said that that demand was discrimination. She said that her paying for 2 seats would mean that she has to pay double the amount of money for exactly the same experience on the flight. She said people with smaller bodies get to pay 1 fare to get to their destination, and we have to pay 2 fares even though we're getting the same experience. If anything, our experiences are a little bit more challenging. Well, yes, but that's because you choose to be overweight. Like, let's not forget that being obese is largely a choice. Now, I know a lot of people will say it's genetic, it's glandular, all those things. It's a thyroid issue. In 99% of the cases, these guys just eat too much. And that's fine. Live your life. If you want to subsist off junk food and sweet treats, go for it. But don't then go on a plane, spill over into your neighbor who is a normal size, and then say, well, I'm not going to pay for an extra seat, because that's just selfish. You're making the experience of the normal sized person who innocently went on the plane expecting a normal experience far harder than it needs to be. And that's on you as the fat person. So the least you could do for everyone around you, also for the safety of the plane, is to buy an extra seat. Now, this woman, Jaylene Cheney again, she said that airlines need to be more accommodating and they need to provide extra seating for fat people at no extra cost. Now, once again, that is incredibly selfish, because who do you think is going to foot the bill for this extra seat? Same idea with the calls to make airline seats bigger. Well, the airlines aren't going to sacrifice profit to make everyone a little bit more comfortable. They're just going to charge everyone else more to accommodate for these overly large people. Now, you could be a social justice warrior and say we should all chip in to make fat people feel comfortable on flights. And that's your prerogative, you can think that. But there is no way that I am wanting to spend extra just because I take the initiative to look after my health. And obviously then this spills over into like, how responsible are we for the healthcare of obese people, of the medical repercussions? Should we all have to pay because our society is getting fatter? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we should actually be punishing people for choosing to be really fat, because it is a drain on the healthcare system. And it's the same with punishing people for being smokers, because then they go on to have really bad healthcare conditions that we all have to pay for. And that's why we tax cigarettes really handsomely. Like, the government makes so much money out of cigarettes. And there has been talk about doing that to junk food, to sodas. Maybe it's a conversation worth having. But today we're talking about the aviation industry. And no, the rest of the passengers shouldn't have to foot the bill, but the fat person should. So what I think there needs to be, I think the airlines need to take control of this issue, because right now they're too scared. They're too scared of looking fat phobic, of looking like they're bullying fat people. But truly, this is an actual issue that needs to be tackled. So they don't have to do it in an embarrassing and humiliating way for the fat person. You know how they have that little cage where you put in your carry-on luggage at the gate to see if you can take it on board. I'm not saying that there should be like a chair and then put the fat person in there and see if they fit. Like, that's humiliating. We're not going to do that to people. But if you're obese, you need to know your size. And there needs to be at check-in, like at the online check-in, there needs to be an area that you check if you are greater than X amount. I don't know, 150, 200 kilos, whatever they've deemed won't really fit comfortably in the chair. And then if you check that box, you need to automatically be charged double for a second seat. And if you can't afford that, well, I'm sorry, you can't fly, because it's not up to everyone else to make you feel accommodated, especially your neighbor, just so you don't have to pay extra. You know, there are so many unfair things when traveling. Solo travelers get the brunt of everything. You know, they have to pay essentially double for a hotel room because hotel rooms are made for 2 people. Are they complaining? No, they're not. They just cop it. There are some things in life where because of your choices or your circumstances, you just have to be a little bit accommodating to everyone else around you. But I do think this is up to the airlines, because they've been pussyfooting around this for so long. I mean, this has been been in the media so many times, even over the last few years, and it will be even more as we get more obese. Like, everyone knows that the Western world in particular is getting fatter, and that is because we're just getting richer and richer. And as China and India become more prosperous, they'll get fatter as well. So the world is just getting fatter. And do you think that airlines are going to be making their seats bigger to accommodate? Of course not. They're making their seats smaller, if anything. So for the outliers, the really obese people, airlines need to have a system. Right now, they don't have that. And this is why there's all this confusion and uproar going on. So airlines need to just grow a pair and get this sorted out, so we don't have to argue about it anymore.